I've always suspected that, well, let me just put it out there. I think Candace Owens is married to a gay man. It's just something about their whole marriage, how they got together within 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they were madly in love, got married, had kids. This seemed like some kind of arranged marriage, or as they call it, a lavender marriage, when someone in the relationship is homosexual and then, it's basically like a cover-up relationship. Let's go ahead and get into this tweet right here. But first, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into this, you guys. With all the controversies, and especially now that Candace is claiming that her life is in danger, and the prime minister of France is trying to have her, the Macrons are trying to have her assassinated. And it's kind of like, where is her husband, George? Like, where is he? Well, he seems like he doesn't really care about whatever is going on in Candace's life. Like, they live two separate lives. Well, according to this tweet, George Farmer like the boys. That's why he don't really care about her. He's too focused on the men. All right, let's get into it, y'all. Here we go. All right, so it's from this account called Colonel Kurtz. Now, they had put this. They said, yes, Candace's husband was accused of sexual assault by Breitbart editor and major conservative figure Raheem Kassam. Now, I haven't really heard about him too much. Like, I know he's in the conservative realm, but I don't really watch him, or I'm not too familiar with him, right? So these are some old tweets from 2022. So the first one says, I know more about this world than I care to. Mercer tried to get me to tell Bannon to shut up about populist nationalism. I was the guy who hired Milo, and Milo's one of those, we'll talk about him later. Farmer was sexually assaulted me. Candace blocked me for calling her sham marriage out. I told y'all it was a sham, y'all. Allegedly a sham. I know this from all angles. Okay. Then he says she's trying to deflect from her husband's public homosexual assaults on people, but also she's being vague intentionally. Personal feelings equals personal animosity. And then he says, I'm not sure she wants to be raising the spectrum of homosexuality given her husband's conduct in public. Nevertheless, I'm not even sure she really is. She talks about personal feelings. I think she's actually referring to personal animosity, but being vague on purpose. And this was in response to this person that said, I'm talking about Ye. And she didn't say in love, she said personal issues, which is true. I've talked about it many times. I take trying to have me fired in 2016, personally, indeed. Also, addict is harsh. I'm a recreational weed smoker like her husband, talking about George Farmer, and side piece. Oh, not the side piece. Who's the side piece, y'all? And then Raheem, he says, don't get me wrong, I think it's cringe, and so is that fraud Candace Owens, who blocked me for telling the truth about her sham marriage. But on balance, it's funnier to watch these big men reduced to tears over a t-shirt. Laugh my ass off. How are you all just hearing about this? I called her out on her hubby trying to grope me and kiss me multiple times. She blocked me for it. Y'all, this is my first, I was today years old when I heard about this. I've never heard about this before. Let me know in the comment section if you guys heard about this. And then a commenter said, are you gay, Raheem? Serious question. Thought you were straight, but hey. And he said, no, he is gay. I am straight. Hence the complaint. Try and keep up. So somebody was basically trying to allude to Raheem was gay. And then it said, why would Candace marry someone who is pretending? Doesn't seem like her. However, I trust you more than her after she bashed President Trump and stabbed him in the back. Then Raheem said, yes, I wonder why the perennial grifter Candace Owens would want to marry into a family of a wealthy British lord. Very difficult to figure out. So I mean, man, it's right there. It's right there. I mean, he's right. Of course, she would want to marry into the Lord family. Like, why wouldn't she? She wants to be rich. Who wants to be broke? You know, what person wants to be broke? She wants to be rich. And Candace seems like she'll do anything for an opportunity. I mean, all these years she sold black people under the bus for fame. She don't care about being righteous. She don't care about none of that. Then somebody was making fun of his looks and stuff like that. But then here's Raheem as of 4 hours ago. He says, I've spoken about it at length for years. Look it up. So again, and then there's a tweet in here from Milo. And Milo, who we're just talking about, the AKA the white nationalist, even though he's married to a gay black man. Yeah, that guy is weird. All these people used to work with Kanye, or Ye, as you want to call him. So I believe they're all freaks. You know, Ye, he came out and said that he sucked off his cousin when they were, listen, all of them are in this. Let me just say that. But anyway, it said Candace is a wealthy woman who could have done anything and had anything. Her marriage made almost anything possible for her. But she has a fatal flaw that resurfaces anytime she's operating without strong male oversight. She doesn't know she's stupid. Damn. He continues, at the Daily Wire, this must have been around the time she got fired. At the Daily Wire, Candace was waxed, tweezed, plucked, and together on course to maybe one day be a big ass, a newscaster, a network anchor, I'm sorry, in her own way. Despite her obvious mental and emotional shortcomings, plus obviously the loco for Cocoa Puffs ice bitch vibe from having a gay husband. Let me tell you something. Candace Owens' husband is getting plunged. Woo! Y'all, this is crazy. You know, this is wild right here. And like I said, out of all the stuff that Candace has gone so hard for Charlie Kirk, I feel like Charlie Kirk was the one that quote unquote got away. Like that's how Candace treats this situation with Charlie Kirk. Yeah, is it suspicious the way that the whole assassination went down? You know, we're not going to pretend like it wasn't suspicious, but she's going harder for Charlie Kirk than Erica Kirk, his wife. Erica Kirk went back to business and making sure that the brand is good. Candace Owens is the one out there trying to be Inspector Gadget and figure out what's really happening and what's really going on. So, I mean, listen, if I was her husband, I'd be like, okay, can you focus on me? Why are you focusing so much on him? But I mean, shit. She busy looking at her other man, and he busy looking at his men. So, you know, they ain't got time to really be caring. But I wanted to show you guys a quick clip of like their quote unquote love story. If you guys care, let's go ahead and check it out. And like I said, just the way they got together and the way they talk about it, it was always just weird to me. And this kind of confirms my suspicions. And I want to say something too. There's nothing wrong with being gay or anything like that. The thing is if you're assaulting people, that's the crime. That's the actual issue. And you need to be held accountable for that. Here we go. Let's check this out.
An amazing love story. I have such an interesting how I met my husband's story. It was totally a God thing. It really was. I was working for an organization called Turning Point at the time, and I bizarrely kept saying to Charlie, who's the founder of Turning Point, like we should go to the UK. Long story short, I take his credit card and I book us to the UK, and we had an event that was set up for us to just kind of speak in front of a room full of reporters and people that were interested sort of in this conservative movement that was happening in America. And my husband now was in attendance, and I promise you, while I was on stage, we had locked eyes, and I was just like, wow, that guy's really cute. Like, you know, what's funny now is that at our engagement dinner, his best friend, who was the best man in our wedding, read the text messages that George sent to him while I was on stage. And he was like, that's my wife.
Stop. Yeah. You need to like frame that.
We both instantly knew he was heading to South Africa for New Year's. And it was just literally 18 days after we met. And he's like, do you have a moment to FaceTime? I said, yep. He was getting onto the plane. And he's like, I have something to ask you. I love you. Do you want to spend the rest of my... Yes. And we have never said anything, like nothing.
So he proposed to you over FaceTime?
Over FaceTime. And I said yes.
And she did this. We did this event. They did an event at the Royal Automobile Club in London in 2018.
So how you just don't, y'all ain't really even had a conversation. It was just all like, you were just infatuated with this man and was all like, yes, I'll marry you. But again, I get why Candace would be down for it. You're married into the Lord family. You know, and listen, I'm American, so I don't really understand the whole Lord and everything like that. But it's high stature. It's like marrying like a Hilton or something like that. That's how they perceive like the Lords and stuff like that. And it's even more like, you know, up there with the upper echelon. So yeah.
Which was for about 300, I would say 300 to 400 people. And I was in the audience, and I just, something about her demeanor just kind of instantly struck me. I mean, it was very unusual. I remember messaging a friend of mine, you know, a couple of days afterwards, just being like, there's something different about this girl. There's something different about.
Had you met her yet, or just seen her from stage?
We'd shaken hands, and that was it. And then the next night I organized this dinner for a whole group of people. So it was her and Charlie as well. And they actually turned up 3 hours late because they were doing a podcast in the countryside. And so when they came back into town, it was kind of like 3 hour late, but we sort of got to know each other a little bit better. And then the next week I flew over to the States to see her speaking at a conference in Florida. And nothing had been said. Like there had been no romantic overtures at all at any of this point. It had all just been very kind of above board and talking about politics and engaging in kind of philosophical conversations. And then at the end of December, we started. I called her a couple of times just to kind of chat, and again, you know, just had these long, like prolonged conversations, which were mainly about politics and trying to understand what she wanted to do in life. And at the end of December, I was actually flying to South Africa at the time for New Year's, and I called her and I just said, listen, I know this is completely crazy and we've just met, but how do you feel about getting married to me?
Just real quick. I missed the bit where there was any sort of...
There was literally nothing romantic had been said up to this point.
Okay.
I mean, literally nothing.
So I missed nothing.
We hadn't gone on a date. We had not talked about marriage or the future or anything like that.
All right.
And and she said yes.
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
She did.
That didn't happen.
Yeah,
You're making it up.
It's all fiction. Fake news. No, it was.
This guy's not even Candace Owens' husband. I thought it was weird that he would refuse to go to Paris. Who is he?
The shit is weird, y'all. Can we just admit that right now? Like it's a little weird. Like what? And you know I'm anti-love, so maybe I just don't get it. But reading that tweet and just knowing how he's not really involved in the day-to-day what's going on with Candace, I can't even say like behind the scenes, because like when you have, and I hate to agree with Milo, but she needs a strong male figure, and she doesn't have that. Obviously, this is why she's going off the cuffs and talking about somebody's trying to assassinate her. Mind you, she wants to get help from the White House, the same White House that she said, or that she alluded to, had something to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination. She's just all over the place, y'all, and she ain't that smart and that bright. And listen, if Candace like it, I love it. If she wants to be in a Lavender relationship, make your money. That's all I got to say, Candace. Make your money. You married into the Lord family, who is very wealthy. You getting your reparations one way or another. I love you, Candace. Let me get the hell up out of here, y'all. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We out, y'all.